Hello everyone, forecaster John Ruggiano with Ruggy Weather on Saturday, July 23rd, 2011. Yesterday I just released my preliminary winter forecast for 2011-2012, and I'd like to go over this briefly in the next 5 to 10 minutes and give you guys an overview of what I'm thinking right now. Once again, my official call usually comes out in October. But this is mainly going to be for the mid-Atlantic and the northeast part of the country, more particular the Delaware Valley. What I'm looking at more specifically to start off this video presentation is the last 2 years I've seen very solid trends across a good part of the country. Now this includes 2009, 2010, and then our 2010, 2011 seasons, and here we're going into 2012. So I'm going to start out with some solid facts and an overall dominant pattern that I've been seeing over the past 2 years, and here we are heading into the third year now. So both what we've seen is both the past 2 summers and the past 2 winters have pretty much produced extremes relative to normal. We've been seeing very hot and fairly dry summers last year and the year before. Here we are in 2011 going on to this third year. Once again, wash, rinse, repeat, as I would say. We're seeing another hot and a dry summer. And what we've seen in the last 2 winters, guys, is extremes. We're seeing extreme hot weather in the summers, and then we're seeing colder and stormier conditions. And I emphasize stormier because overall we've been seeing very snowy winters across much of the plains, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and then of course into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Even parts of the Southeast and Tennessee Valley have been seeing a fair amount of snow last year and the year before. And I'm thinking this is going to continue into this third year, as we're into a third hot summer going into a third winter, where I think this pattern overall has been continuing. As far as the Enzo, that's been extreme. We started out with a strong El Nino, moderate to strong El Nino 2 years ago, which translated in 1 year to a moderate to strong La Nina, and now right now we're near neutral. And a lot of the forecasts from the models into the wintertime are forecasting this Enzo signal to be near neutral to maybe a weak La Nina. So one of the differences I'm seeing here is we're not getting that moderate to strong flip with our Enzo signal from El Nino to a La Nina. Now we're more neutral, so that could be a little bit of a factor to play in. But overall, the extremes in the heat and pretty cold in the winter is interesting, to say the least. Alright guys, I'm going to talk a little bit more about teleconnections. I know you guys are aware that I hone in on this a lot for my long range forecasting in the fall and winter. And we've had a pretty incredible run here over the last 3 years with this negative NAO, negative AO couplet. And it's continuing through the summer months here. And they're staying hand in hand like they have been, and I see this trend continuing. And if that's the case, if we have a negative NAO and a negative AO couplet continue into the fall and winter, which I see no reason why it's not going to change, we're in for another cold and snowy winter. There's no doubt about it. Even with the Enzo being different the last 2 years, we're still seeing that overall trend with our teleconnections continuing, and the PNA out in the Pacific has been cooperating for the most part, being more neutral to positive, which that would produce more ridging out in the west, and then the AO and NAO couplet being negative would produce more of troughiness in the central and eastern part of the United States. So I don't see much changes going with that. So I look for these teleconnections to be a big factor once again, and a driver, as I would call it, to the pattern. Whether your Enzo is La Nina or El Nino, it doesn't matter. It's going to continue. And then the other thing is our hurricane seasons. I mean, they've been near to a little bit above normal, getting off to late starts. But as far as what I'm looking at is the landfalling hurricanes have been just about non-existent in the last 2 years. So what happens this year as far as our hurricane season could be a big indicator. In other words, if I see less landfalling hurricanes on the East Coast, Southeast United States, once again this year, that's another sign that this pattern is relentless, and that could be a good indicator that cold and snowy winter once again. But if we have more landfalling hurricanes, I might have to do additional investigations to see what the following fall and winter seasons produced with more landfalling hurricanes. But these are all little factors that a forecaster as myself has to look at in long-range forecasting. So that's just something to keep in mind. Then there's space weather and earth changes. I mean, the sun's been going crazy with solar flares, sunspot activity the last 2 years. That definitely affects our weather. I'll get into more detail on that in my write-up for my official call. I'm still learning about this, so it's interesting. It does play a factor. And then volcanic activity. I mean, we have more volcanoes going off in the last 5 years than ever before. And this volcanic activity throughout the world continues to increase, which tells me this has to be factored in, because you're throwing volcanic ash into the atmosphere, the stratosphere, and this does certain things depending on locations as it gets entrained into the global pattern. So I'll also try to factor that in when I do my official call in October to see if this is an impending factor for the winter of 2011-2012. Okay guys, so I'm going to basically wrap it up right now and just give you an idea of what I'm thinking here, particularly for the Delaware Valley, which includes southeast PA, central southern New Jersey, and Delaware. Right now I'm thinking this winter will be slightly colder than normal, with near to above average precipitation and overall above normal snowfall. I'm seeing a better than even chance for 2 to 3 storms that could produce 6 to 12 inches of snow, but I still think we're going to have a variable storm track, but it'll result in a cold and snowy winter for the Delaware Valley. Temperatures, I'm thinking about -1 to -3 overall. Once again, precipitation near to slightly above average, and snowfall, I'm thinking about 30 to 36 inches is a good bet for this upcoming winter. And once again, we're going to see, I think, bigger storms, Miller A's and Miller B's, because I think the pattern will be variable. Don't forget, we got a solid 3-4 months of winter, guys, December right into March. And I'll try to break that down a little bit better. It's too early to tell exactly. You know, I usually do a month-to-month analysis to throw that in there, what I think what each month might be. If everything continues as this pattern has, we could get off to a nice good start in winter again in December and January. Last year, we were about 4.5 degrees below normal in December, and actually near 3 degrees below normal in January, which was actually a surprise, because over the last 5-6 years, January's usually been a very mild month. I mean, we've been averaging 2 to as much as 6 degrees above average in January, and in most cases February was our cold months the last few years, and also December. So this year I'll try to get that honed in and tuned up in October, but there still is a rather good chance that we could get off to a quick start in the winter time and continue through much of the winter. So I'll have a lot more on that in October. So that's about it, guys, and thanks for listening to the video presentation. I plan on doing more of these videos in the fall and winter, especially during winter when we have storms on the way. I'll do some mid and long range analysis, so I'll give you guys a heads up what things are looking like. But for now, enjoy, and I know it's hot right now, but it's probably going to be like a switch again. We'll have a fairly mild fall, and then as soon as November comes, we'll start switching into colder weather pretty quick, and by December we might be very well right into the heart of winter again. So that's about it for now, guys. Thanks for listening, and I'll do a video probably in the next month or so. Have a good one.